Kent Hughes just revealed a lot about the Habs offseason in a recent interview just today with Eric Engels at the GM meetings. Kent Hughes indicated that he's going to make not just one, but likely multiple moves to open the Habs window come this summer, including being open to the possibility of overpaying for a truly star player. It's not just that. We have a bunch of quotes to get into, including him revealing some details on the trade deadline. We got some talk about laying Hutson from a great Arber article that you guys can read. We got some quotes from Marty about the misfit second line with Waugh, Newhook, and Laine, including some comments about Laine himself, a Habs, Senators preview, and a whole lot more, all coming up on this live episode of Habs Digest. Jesse, we were excited for this stream, but when this Kent Hughes stuff dropped today in this article that is linked down below, check in the description below for this Eric Engels article. Go read it yourself. There's more than just what we're presenting. This just took it to another level, Jesse. I mean, I know we're in the playoff hunt. Ken talked about that, but just to know that the playoffs are coming, plus what's looking to be one of the biggest off seasons we've experienced as Habs fans, is insane.
Is Kent Hughes Professor X? Because it just feels like he's reading my mind right now. All of us collectively as Habs fans, he just knows what's on our wish list. And it just seems like he's just saying all the right things in terms of like the approach for this trade deadline. Like they were looking for a 2C there as well, but they wanted to find that right fit. So it seems like he knows exactly what he needs to do. In fact, he's putting the whole NHL on notice here of really what the plans are. So as we know, Kent, always the negotiator, get right into business.
Oh my gosh, I actually cannot wait to get into this stuff with you guys. You're going to want to stick around. We got over 100 people in here already. I'm just ready to get started, but before we do, Jesse, we got a super chat right off the bat from Ethan Mods. Ethan, fantastic to see you as usual, and thank you so much for the generosity as always. $5. Hey everyone, go Habs go. Go Habs go. Go Habs go. I'm excited. We're so pumped to get into this. Thank you so much, Ethan. Reminder, channel members and donations do get priority in what I read. Like, hello there, Canadian dude in Oz. Good to see you, Super Gushan. But we're going to try and read as much as we can. But let's dive into this video, Jesse. And I want to start, this live stream. It's the muscle memory, right? We're going to talk first about an interesting thing. Now, you sent me this, and it was a very, very interesting stat to look at, right? And we all know, look, around December is when Lane Hutson was first on the power play 1. December 3rd is Patrick Laine's first game. But there was a certain trade that happened December 18th, and that was the acquisition of Alex Carrier. And I want to show you the Habs record heading into that day, Jesse. We were 5th worst in the league between the start of the season and December 18th. We were 12, 16, and 3. This is credit to StatMuse. This is where we get these kind of graphics. But since December 18th, since the acquisition of Alex Carrier, we've been 5th best, behind only the Jets, Capitals, Avs, and Stars. I know Carrier's been good, and we talk about him a lot, Jesse, but seeing this actual go from 5th worst to 5th best, I know it's not just him. Like I said, there's other factors, but it's impossible to deny the impact that he has had on this team.
I mean, this is a huge pendulum swing. Like, we're just wishing that we would have got a player like this earlier, because it feels like we would have been in that playoff spot. We know with Justin Barron, it was kind of like one of those things with our younger players where you do want to give it that opportunity, but definitely, credit to Kent Hughes for not waiting too long, because we needed for him to make that type of decision, and also to make it at the time that he did, for us to really be in the mix at this point in time, right? We're looking like at the goals for and goals against. Yeah. Without Carrier, it was 87 goals that we had, and then 113 goals against. Now we're looking with him in the fold, 108 goals scored, 101 goals against. Like, he has just had such a net positive team. Again, like, we were in the negative when it was coming to that goal differential. Obviously, our record was reflective of that. Obviously, like, these are pretty straightforward stats. Like, you're scoring more than the other team. Obviously, we've had a winning record over that stretch. In fact, we've been one of the better teams in the NHL. Like, to say that we've been like the 6th best team in the NHL with Carrier in our lineup, I mean, like, Josh, like, I don't know. Like, do you find that surprising?
I mean, sort of. Like, because look, I think it'd be crazy to say that it's not surprising that this team, over that stretch of the season, you put that roster on paper, say this is going to be the 5th best team over that stretch of the season. I think a lot of people would have said, yeah, that absolutely is surprising. But honestly, the solidity that Alex Carrier has brought to this decor has been incredible, right? And we watched like him play with Mike Matheson. It's really, really nice to watch. And I was saying to you the other day, Jesse, like, how often do you watch a game and feel, dang, Carrier really didn't have a great game tonight? How often do you watch a game and say, Carrier made a mistake right there? It's rare. Like the dude is just solid all the time. He's surprisingly physical for his size, making the right play. And I think maybe the biggest impact of this Carrier trade is since Guhle went down, yes, we've been missing him, especially before that 4 Nations break a little bit. But the fact that Carrier has been there to sort of play a semi-similar style to Kaiden Guhle, not perfectly similar, but he's a little bit replaceable, and have that second pairing, or first pairing, I guess, however you want to look at it, wherever Lane Hutson's playing that night, that can kind of fill that void that Kaiden Guhle has left. I think that's been one of the more underrated parts of this big acquisition.
Yeah, we would have been in such a worse spot without Kaiden Guhle here in the line, without, Alex Carrier to really back him up right now. Like, it's actually incredible that we're right on the fringe of a playoff spot while missing one of our key defensemen on this team. Like, what a jump it would really give to this team, Josh, if they're able to make the playoffs, and then Carrier and the others on the Dach are able to hold the fort until a Kaiden Guhle arrives. Like, he's just going to come heart and soul at that point in time and just be a huge lift to a team that's probably already riding high and feeling really good about themselves there. So, I mean, it's a hot team in Montreal, but then you kind of put in the act, kind of adding somebody like a Kaiden Guhle who we know plays well under big, situations. It would be huge for this team. But again, it's like Carrier's been a huge factor in all of this, as we know. But, we've kind of been chatting about, like, what are some of those kind of secret things that have been happening for the Montreal Canadiens have success? We know Lane Hutson getting on the PP1, not waiting too much time to be put in that position. Obviously, Lane Hutson is just a rival on the scene in general. There's obviously Patrick Laine getting back in the lineup, which was a big one as well from injury there. And obviously Dobeš, getting our backup goaltending solidified along with Carrier has really been the recipe for success for the Montreal Canadiens this year.
That's a great point. Like, we can point at one date or 2 dates or whatever, but no matter what, you look into around that time where all this stuff happened, somewhere in December to today, it's pretty obvious that this team is a different team than it was before. Great point on Dobeš too, and like Laine again, December 3rd, since coming into the lineup, he's been on like over a full season, 35 goal pace and like 60 something point pace. I don't know what people were expecting coming off major injuries and of course other things with Patrick Laine, but it's been unbelievable. I want to go through the chat a little bit. Like, this is just amazing. The turnaround and development of this team. If you guys are hyped, leave a W for the Habs in chat. Look, we got to see that chat more active. We got 200 people in here. We know you guys can be more active than this. Send some W's for how the team has turned around. I'm going to read a couple. We got Jim Strickland. Hello from the Rock, boys. Hello, Jim. What are you at? How you doing there today? Joel saying, good evening, Josh and Jesse. Go Habs, go. Where are we going? To the playoffs. Kevin from Halifax. Good to see you, Kevin. We got W's flowing into the chat. Zen Mysterio, Andrew Drake, Norm Stein. We got a bunch of people pumped up for this team, and that's what we're here for. We're going to hype up the Montreal Canadiens, and because right now, it's been honestly insane to witness this team. But one of the big questions right now, heading into this next stretch of the season, Jesse, it's been that second line. Now, we talked a bit at length about, whether it's going to be Guhle or these other guys. You can watch yesterday's video if you want to dive more into that kind of battle for the position. But in a recent article by Arpen Basu that is linked down below if you have The Athletic, we're just going to show bits of it. Again, it's paywalled content. Go show Arpen the support he deserves for writing this kind of stuff, of course. But I wanted to highlight a few things he had to say about the second line because I do think it's very interesting. So we'll take a look. He was basically saying, like, on Saturday, when San Luis asked about the team's ability to correct itself in game, he talked about, hey, Evans, Dvorak, and Suzuki, they can regulate the game, they can do that, but he didn't mention Newhook. And look, it's San Luis' land of misfit toys, as he said. He likes his 3 other lines, he trusts them, and there's the 3 other forwards he has available to him. This second line's been an issue all season, whether it's Dach or Newhook, and he even said on the subject of Laine, Marty San Luis that is, that he has to know that Laine is going to have defensive intentions, and that's just not in our zone. It's a case where he was good that period, so he's there every day in practice and everything. You need to have defensive intentions. And when you look at this line, Jesse, I do agree. It kind of feels like this line has been, despite being the second line, one of the lesser relied upon lines, and it was only in a recent game that we really saw them get minutes in a close game late in the game. But honestly, I really like what I saw there from Arpen and what Marty had to say about it, in the sense, look, he knows what they need to do. It's just about them executing, and I really think these guys, especially as of late, have started to lock that in.
There's some good signs. Again, seeing them later on in the game, we know kind of what the issues are with Laine. You have to feel like with Newhook, he's maybe playing a little bit out of position to kind of have that true success for right now. But again, like that misfit line, you have to feel like, Newfoundlanders, they always get that short end of the stick, except on YouTube.
That's right.
They're definitely killing it there, that's for sure. But, like, for me, it's just a trending in the right direction that, that they can rely on them, again, at very important times in the game here. Newhook, like, you have to feel like you're rooting for the guy. You want him to have that success. And again, I think it's right to call it out with the defensive intentions. He says he wants to have that defensive predictability from Line. And he says, like, not just in a game, not just a period, but like practice. He wants to know, like, on offense and also on the defensive side, kind of what to expect. And again, a lot of people have wrote out like Patrik Laine, like, oh, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Always just gonna be an offensive guy. You know what? Like, Martin St. Louis has done this with Cole Caufield, who, by the way, that first line is having an amazing plus or minus right now percentage. Like, I can believe that he can do the same thing with Patrik Laine. Do I think that this team maybe winning some games and playing well, maybe getting the playoffs, might be some good motivation for Patrik Laine to play that way? Yes, absolutely. But it's like, seeing them later on in the game is absolutely key, because we know we need that second line. We need that scoring, but obviously if we can find that sweet spot where they can be that threat offensively while still really providing defensively, that's really going to elevate Montreal's game right now for the end of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's something that we've seen a lot better. Like, again, we talk about that Florida game, like until the end when Devo took a pretty rough penalty and Florida pulled the goalie, the shots were basically even and Florida had almost none. Now, I know Paul Marie said, look, we played terrible, worst game of the season. That's what Panthers fans were saying. I believe it, but it's not just luck that causes you to play your worst game of the season. It's how the other team plays you. And that defensive focus has been so much there, especially since the Four Nations break, that this kind of talk here about Laine, even Laine has looked better 5v5. He had his highest ice time in weeks in their last game, right? Like, these are things that the team is noticing, and it's something that's improving. Laine got a goal. We're seeing Newhook create a lot of rush chances. If you ask, what was it, Craig Button, who couldn't stop talking about Alex Newhook on that West Coast road trip. So, like, it's been unbelievable. But yeah, let us know, what do you guys think right now? Is this second line set in stone? Give me a yes or no in chat. I want to hear what you guys have to say about this second line, as I got to read a couple chats, as we do have another super chat once again from Ethan Mods. Jesse, Ethan, so generous. Thank you so much for $10. I think Dobeš made one of the biggest differences. We played Montembeault almost every game for months, so being able to give him a break and get good goaltending was massive. And I think that's a good point. I think you alluded to that too, Jesse. Again, like we said, there's other factors, but the confidence in having, like, that win streak from Dobeš when he started his career breathed such a life, like so much life into this team. That is one of the big catalysts for where Montreal is today in the standings. Like, that 5-game win streak, we're going to look back at the end of the season, even if he only wins 2 or 3 out of those 5 games, which is probably what you would expect for an AHL guy who has never played in the NHL getting called up, win 2 or 3 of your first 5 games. Even if he only wins those, then this team's in a very different spot. So honestly, maybe a bit of an unsung hero somehow, even though he's been unbelievable. That's a great point. Dobeš has been maybe a bigger impact on this whole thing than we could have anticipated.
It's a great point by Ethan. It's like, we really needed to take care of that defensive side of the game. First, we added Carrier, which, we had to feel made things a little bit easier for Dobeš. But I mean, we can't discount him. Like, he was lights out. Like, it wasn't Alexander Carrier that was in nets making those incredible saves. Like, that was all Jakub Dobeš there. Absolutely phenomenal. And right now, like, we know for the Montreal Canadiens, first it was like stopping those really high danger chances. Remember that earlier in the season? I don't want to give anybody PTSD here, but like
years, dude,
in the spot, like just those prime opportunities, losing track of the guy. So Carrier definitely helped. But then once, things eventually do come up in a hockey game, obviously Dobeš, like, just, to be so young and then be so poised kind of coming in and, dipped a little bit, but then kind of right back on track and playing some very consistent hockey again. Like, this guy is looking like not just an NHLer, but, a guy that could push for a 1A job at some point. He's not there right now. Could he absolutely push? Yeah. Jakub Dobeš is that good. That's really the effect that he's needed on this team. And then once we kind of secured the defensive part, of the game, which I think was the most, we were just allowing too many goals against. Obviously we saw like our Corsi, we were right at the top of the league for goals against, high slot opportunities there. It's like, it really changed, and it kind of stabilized the game. Therefore, we could play really from our puck, from our net out and really start putting the puck in the back of the opposition's net.
Yeah, it's been unbelievable. And honestly, it's not even just Dobeš. Like, we got to shout out Monty too. Like, holy crap, especially since the Four Nations. Yeah. Like, also, like, this goaltending tandem, I feel like this has subtly sped up the rebuild a little bit too, because there were question marks. Well, maybe Dobeš can be the backup as we transition to Foul, and now it's like, oh no, he just is. Like, this is what's happening. Like, Dobeš is the backup, and the timeline works perfectly. We got Monty under contract. By the time his contract's coming to an end, Fowler may be ready to at least step in, maybe in a backup role. if not the full-time starter, like, and we'll have options by then. Like, there's a ton of change that's going to happen between now and a few years from now, but it's been unreal. So great question, Ethan. Well, not even question, just a great statement. Really good stuff. I want to read through a couple chats. We do have channel members in here. We got Alex, longtime channel member, Rocket Richard here. Give Lion some time. He missed so much. Him with Demidov and that signed acquired 2C will go crazy. We're getting to that, I promise. These Kent Hughes quotes, again, you really don't want to miss them because they're pretty insane. And even I'm saying 17 points in 9 games for Suzuki. That's another thing, Jesse. I mean, we mentioned the top line, how good their plus minus has been. Suzuki right at the top of the league since the Four Nations break. Like, if he stays at this pace, he could get 100 points. I don't think that's likely, but if he stays on the pace that he's been since the Four Nations break, even a little bit below, technically it's possible. Now that's a high level to sustain and probably not realistic. I'm just saying there's a chance. No one thought Ovi would break Gretzky's record. I'm just saying, you never really know. I'm gonna read one or two more just before we move on, because we got so many chats in here. Scotty saying always great daily content, fellas, from us Habs fans all the way up in northeastern BC. Shout out to you, Scotty. Thank you for being here. Dan, hi guys, Habs will squeak in. Thank you for being here, Dan. Hey guys, says Frankie. Hey guys, could not connect before to the live, but go Habs, go. Let's make it to the playoffs from Dajoka. And we got one more I'm going to read. Josh from Jesse, with patience for Joshua Watt to get his footing. How much time do you give him since there's limited time left? Do we move quicker to maybe give Sean Farrell a shot with games? I'd say go check out yesterday's video, but if we could summarize it in a sentence, Jesse, I think we both agree that right now, Watt makes the most sense in terms of what the team has and his potential and what we've seen from him so far. I think the leash will be pretty long, to say the least.
For sure. And a guy like Davidson will get a shot, at some point as well. Again, 19 goals. You just have to feel with that line composition. Like, Sean Farrell has been lighting up. And actually, I love to see that. Like, guys that you might discount and kind of forget about. No, like, he's showing this organization and Kent Hughes that he is a solid player. So I love to see how that story is developing. But you have to feel like if we're talking about Nui, we're talking about Line A, and then like a Farrell, those are two pretty smaller guys kind of going into what is kind of like some playoff hockey right now. So while, Farrell is playing really well, I love to see him kind of come in when he's maybe even though it's top 6, maybe of a better kind of situation for him to succeed. I think he probably needs a little bit more size on that line other than Line A there. But I mean, while this team is winning, I think they're going to keep Joshua Watt there, but he knows like the clock's ticking. He saw with Beck, if he's not going to perform, they might try somebody else as well. So I love that they're keeping the boys on the toes right now.
Yeah, and we did a deeper dive into that in yesterday's video. Go check it out. We're probably going to talk about that again before the season's over. Who knows? Habs still have a couple call-ups, so that's a great question. It's a great thing to point out. Ethan saying, just imagine if we get a second-line center in the offseason with Demidov coming over. That's what we're saying. That's what a lot of people are saying. Again, we'll get into what Kent Hughes had to say. Alex saying 85-90 for Suzuki. I think if the boys make playoffs, for sure, he's been driving the bus. Image One Nation saying, listen to you live while driving to work. Shout out, Image One Nation. Look, that's right. By the way, guys, we're also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So by the way, we had the most streams other than Raptors Digest in the entire Digest Media Network. We have 50 channels. We were second only to our biggest channel in the network, Raptors Digest. Thank you guys for checking us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And if you haven't, and you want to listen to us in audio form, just go check that out. I mean, look, it's us as well, so go check out Habs Digest on those other platforms. But let's move on quickly, Jesse, too. I want to talk a bit about Lane Hutson. And one more quote from Arber Basu. Again, give the credit. Go read the full article. We're just showing you little snippets. Not going to take us full paywalled article. But this is a very interesting part, and I want to hear your thoughts on this, Jesse, as we read it. Of the 79 NHL players with at least 50 points this season, Hutson's last with 73 shots on goal. Pretty far behind Kopitar's 84 shots in second last. If Hutson never shoots, doesn't that make him more predictable and at least somewhat easier to defend? These shot fakes become a bit less effective when the whole league knows you're not shooting the puck, no? And I think that's a very interesting point to raise from Arber Basu. And yeah, you do need a shot to score goals. Now, he does have 4 goals. I don't know how many of them, maybe like 1 or 2 were legit absolute snipes, rocket shots to beat a defender or beat a goalie. But it's something we saw a bit more at Boston College. We knew it was not going to be a strength in the NHL, but we've seen other players kind of come back from not having great shots. This doesn't worry you at all, does it? Because it doesn't worry me. This dude's top 6 in the NHL defenseman scoring. He's leading all rookies in scoring. Not even a concern, but I just see this as an opportunity for him to unlock some type of legit superstar tier of production.
And who does this remind you of, our dear fans and viewers? It's like Slafkovsky. It took a little bit of time for him to start shooting more, but once he did, it started going in. And I'm not comparing exactly their shot. They're different players, but I think there's a point to be said of kind of knowing when to kind of shoot, because both Slav and Hutson are coming from an approach where they're team first type of guys. It's always about the team winning. So sometimes they can be a little bit unselfish in terms of those situations. They want those highest, danger opportunities, but sometimes it means kind of letting it rip for yourself. And you have to feel with Clayton Hutson, like, along with the man strength, it's going to come. But for me, it's like he's got all the dangles in the world. It's just about trying to get close, get to those face-off dots.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? With his deceptiveness, being able to change some angles, I got a lot of faith in him, getting some goals. So I think it's about using those moves, but instead of dishing it after he's done the kind of that first toe drag, it's just letting it rip for yourself at this point in time, because we love to see the work that he does in practice, and we love it. It's a big part of why he's having the success that he is right now. But we know he needs those game reps of really getting the shot off as well, because it just hits different. He's going to really kind of speed up his experience and his growth by doing that. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that being kind of a part of his game in the future, and really opening up a lot of things, not just for himself, obviously, but other players as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Great point. And you know what? You did mention Slav. I was someone who has probably had a little bit of a similar path, certain concern, not shooting the puck enough. But there's another name that, of course, came to mind. And look, it's a name we hear a lot talking about, Lane Hutson, but it's Kent Hughes. So, look, I know he's one of the best defensemen in the world, but for a couple of years there, Canucks fans were saying he got a muffin of a shot. Like, he's just not that kind of goal-scoring threat. He can skate with the puck like crazy. He's deceptive. He's fast. He's an unbelievable player, but that shot is not a lethal weapon. And a couple of years ago, just came in, and all of a sudden, he worked on his shot all summer, and he came in and all of a sudden can score a bunch of goals. And we see Lane Hutson already, Jesse, staying 30 minutes after practice to develop that shot. I mean, it's something he clearly knows about. And everything that's come out of Lane Hutson's mouth about his development, what he can do better, he's very conscious of what he needs to improve and what he does well. And to see him putting in that extra effort that he knows he's going to need to do to elevate his game to the next level already as a rookie is, I think, what's maybe the most impressive thing to me.
For sure. And the thing about Lane Hutson is, like, he kind of thrives on, adversity. Like, tell him that he can't do something, he's too small. He's been hearing it all his career. So he's just going to take that one thing. Like, don't bet against any single part of his game, because he's going to work it out. He's going to get it all to a level that he is really happy with. So again, he's going to really need to probably rely a little bit more on his accuracy, a little bit more than anything else. But you know what? Like, that works. For me, he has all the dangles in the world. So, like, the shot isn't a concern. It's just take those shots from a little bit closer in right now. And he showed, that he's tough enough and has the willingness to get there. And, as it kind of comes over time, then he can start kind of taking some shots for further on out as well. I think that's all really par for the course. And I mean, once he does, like, he's almost going to be so hard to kind of defend against, because he's already deking out so many players when they know what he's going to do, that he's not really going to shoot. So just imagine how he's going to really keep them on their toes once he just has another tool in his box there.
Absolutely. And even Alex saying, guy doesn't need a good shot when he can undress the goaltender. Well, look, it's one challenge to get to the goaltender in the first place. He can get close, but can't quite get all the way. So I'm sure we'll be seeing more of those as the years go on. I mean, look, we saw Cale Makar's goal the other night. Oh my gosh, that last night, I don't even know. Like, the dude's crazy, right? But there's so much amazing stuff happening right now. Lane Hutson, again, his development so far, his development curve, we thought he hit a bit of a rookie wall for 10 games, and then all of a sudden he's just back to getting a point every other night, every single night almost. Dude's gonna mess around and get 60 points. It's actually crazy. But right now, guys, I want to take a little bit of a detour and look, just hear me out right now. I know March Madness doesn't have anything to do with hockey, but it does, because it's sports, it's competition. You need to know nothing about basketball to join a March Madness bracket. It's a big giveaway. There are thousands of dollars that are available literally for free if you join our league Digest. We have almost 250 people. I know we have probably 40 or 50 just from the Habs Digest community. You want to play with us and the rest of the people around Digest Media, completely free, lots of money to be won. Just check out this ad right here in partnership with Hot Takes.
We are kicking off a March Madness bracket for the channel, folks. We've partnered with the Hot Takes app. You know we love Hot Takes, and other Digest channels for this event. It's completely free to sign up. Just download the Hot Takes app, click the March Madness banner, and join the Digest Media pool to join the competition. And it's really exciting because there's over $35,000 in prizes to be won. That's right. And since there's a much smaller pool, there is a real chance to win.
Absolutely. So check out the link below or scan the QR code to download the app now, and make sure you use the promo code DIGEST. That's all caps, has to be all caps, digest. When you sign up, you'll be prompted for the referral code and you'll get some exclusive perks that no one else will get signing up to this, guys. You're going to want to do it quick because the first round, the main event, starts on March 16th. So get in now, click the link down below. We're pumped about this. And hey, if you have any problems signing up at all, email us. There'll be an email left in the description below. Thank you so much to Hot Takes for partnering with us on this amazing competition. Yeah, okay, well, I think I said in the middle of that, so a little Easter egg that you don't get in the regular videos. My mic cutting in and go, but anyway, seriously, guys, again, completely free. We're all in it. We got a bunch of people. Thank you for tuning into that. Let's get right back here now. The link is in the pinned comment, by the way, and in the description, so go check it out. Code Digest. Jesse, let's talk. We got a big game, and I want to see some people talking in the chat. Habs versus Sens upcoming tomorrow night. That is... To this point, you could argue, Jesse, it's the biggest game of the Habs season so far, and I don't think many people would disagree with you. There's going to be bigger games down the stretch. That's a near certainty, but when we're talking about the Ottawa Senators right now, Montreal is 1 point out of a playoff spot with 2 games in hand. We're 6 points behind the Ottawa Senators, and the Senators are only 4 points behind the Leafs. It's now the Atlantic Division that's becoming contested, but Habs versus Senators is a rivalry. The teams hate each other, and this has huge playoff implications. As we look into this game, of course, the Senators looking a little bit different right now. They got Xhekaj back there, Xhekaj, Stutzle, and Giroux. They got Perron and Batherson centered by newly acquired Dylan Cousins. Their defense looks solid against Sanderson and Shabbat and Clevin down the left side with Zub Hamonic and Matt and Paulo down the right. There is a little bit of a weakness at that right side D, and we know Allmark streaky, Jesse, but coming into this game, this is, in my opinion, the single most must-win game of the season for Montreal.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they're kind of our direct competition, kind of CBJ, Detroit, Red Wings. But again, like this is going to be such a big game right now. We know that Ottawa Senators have been playing really well. Montreal Canadiens have been better. They're team, best right now at league best at 7-1-2. Brady Tkachuk has been good since the Four Nation break. Nick Suzuki has been better. Again, like that's what we're expecting kind of going into this game. It's going to be 2 teams that are playing some good hockey right now. But Martin St. Louis has really gotten this team starting every single game on time with a lot of intensity. So that's what I really expect from this one going forward. Again, I've been really impressed by a lot of the effort kind of starting out of the gate. And really, again, I think that that's very, very clear indicator of the coaching that the Montreal Canadiens are getting, but also how the team's buying into the vision, how much that they want to compete, how much they want this last spot, because they are just playing with so much intensity right now. I feel like Nick Suzuki, he's not getting enough praise for how well he is playing right now. We're hearing everybody kind of talking about Tkachuk, but meanwhile, Nick Suzuki's doing something just on another level. Been arguably, and I think from the points perspective, shown the best player in the NHL since that Four Nations break. To be honest, how he's really kind of answered the bell here, he was already so respected by us as Habs fans, but it's just kind of reached a new level of late.
It's actually gotten completely insane for Nick Suzuki. That sounds like a title. Anyway, but Nick Suzuki has been rolling so much that, again, he's driving the bus. And in Kent Hughes today, in an interview, we'll talk about that now. It's with Gino Reda, I believe, right? And at these GM meetings, and Kent was saying, he's like, look, I know it's pretty well documented. Nick Suzuki came to me, said, so what's the deal? Kent Hughes said, look, you want to win, you win, and I'm going to reward you guys. What did Nick Suzuki do? He's come out and played the best hockey of anyone in the NHL. He's led the Habs back to within fighting distance. More than that, with a higher point percentage than the second wildcard team right now. But he's led the Habs basically to a playoff spot, and it's been unreal to see. And the team starting out hot is something they need to do. Seattle, they didn't have their legs on the second night of a back-to-back on the West Coast road trip. But in these recent games, you're absolutely right, Jesse. They're playing with a fire underneath them, and they have a ton to prove. So does the Senators team. They've won 6 in a row, but guess what? Montreal still has more points over their last 10 games than the Senators. They won 6 in a row. Montreal still has more points. Let that sink in. He's knocking at the door. Mr. Fawcett, let that sink in. He's knocking at the door. There's so much great stuff happening right now with Montreal. This Habs-Senators game, let us know in the comments right now. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to put up a poll. We're going to start a poll. Who wins? Habs versus Sens. Let's see. Habs, I think I have a funny feeling what most of you are going to write here, but I just want to see those votes come in. I want to see people talking about this because it's so hype right now around Montreal. Again, I can't get over the fact that we're so close to that second wildcard spot. But Jesse, we got a bunch of super chats coming in here. We got to read them all before we get on to our Kent Hughes stuff. Mr. Niles coming in saying, Horvat. Big talk there from Mr. Niles, and hey, we might bring him up, Jesse. Maybe before we get into that Kent Hughes thing. He's been a name we've talked about before. He's one of those names that, to me, look, I mean, I'm not going to do a deep breakdown of Bo Horvat right now, and I got to say, he's one of those names that I wouldn't fully be opposed to.
Yeah, and again, Kent Hughes kind of alludes to this into our later section we're going to get into, but like he's saying, he's open for things that are kind of maybe more of a stopgap for, kind of for guys like Xhekaj to kind of develop, or just getting somebody who kind of fills that window. It's like, what works best for the Montreal Canadiens? And for me, it's like, for, Kent Hughes, you could say, getting like kind of a young guy that you can have for a long period of time, like that's probably the best. But at the same time, when you have a very young team, I could see adding the right kind of veteran, even though he doesn't have this big, long window, knowing what we kind of have in our pipeline, where arguably that's a little bit better, adding a little bit of a veteran presence there to this team, especially if we want to be in the playoffs. So, I mean, Horvat's been a guy, I'm not going to lie, that I've been checking out, that I've been thinking about, because he just kind of fits that bill in a lot of ways right now for the Montreal Canadiens.
And not only does he bring some decent scoring, he brings leadership. Like, people forget, this dude was a captain, right? Like, so there's a lot that's worth a good bit on your contract in and of itself. So great comment from Mr. Niles. We're pumped for that too, but we got to roll. I do have the quote on screen. We're going to talk about that again in a second, but we're going to roll through the other super chats here. Second one, again from Ethan. Thank you so much, Ethan, for another $5. Tage Thompson. If we got him, we'd have an insane team for years. Look, I'd love it. I think Buffalo would have to be absolutely bananas to trade Tage Thompson. Again, Jesse, he's a name that I know I've mentioned. I know you've brought up. I would love that. Unfortunately, that's just one of those that I don't see happening unless we see some kind of otherworldly collapse in the Sabres organization. Oh, we got Jesse frozen here. Well, you know what? That's okay. We'll wait and see what happens on that note. But you know what? We're just gonna leave that open. We're just gonna leave that for now. And I think he agrees, right? So we'll wait and see when he comes back. But that's a great point. Like, I love Tage Thompson. He's a fantastic player. The smile works pretty well here, doesn't it? Actually, hold on. Let me see if I can All right, there we go. So we'll do this until Jesse comes back. That works, right? This works. I think you're all okay with this. Let me know if you're not okay with that, but this is what we're going to have to do. I love Tage Thompson. I agree with you, Ethan, but again, I just think Buffalo they'd be crazy to trade him. Final one here from Frankie Daig. I think it's Daig. I assume so. $6.99, your first super chat on the channel. Sincere thank you, Frankie. Like, really, really appreciate you being here. Said, missed you guys so much. OMG, thanks. Well, we're here every single week, Frankie, at 6:15 p.m. Eastern. Jesse is very excited to tell you that himself right now. Really, it's unbelievable. It's a privilege to do this. And the fact that people miss us when we're not here is absolutely, it's the best. It's I don't know. It's a crazy feeling, honestly, sometimes to know that, you guys are waiting on us. So it's been really, really great. But you know what? I'm gonna stall for a little bit here because I want Jesse to be back here before we talk about this final Kent Hughes stuff. So in the meantime, I'm just gonna check my messages, see if he's messaged me. I don't think he has. But if you guys, and I've done this before, Joseph Donovan gifting a Habs Digest membership. Thank you so much, Joseph. And Dach, I read your message earlier. You've been officially gifted a channel membership. So Dach, you feel free to send all of your channel emojis, your Slavzillas, your Suzukis, your Lines. I'll send a few right now. All the channel members, we want to see these all sent in chat here. Frankie, longtime member. Oh, Frankie, yes, longtime member. First time super chat. Unbelievable stuff, Frankie. Great to have you here. Oh my gosh, it's so great to have all you guys here. But I want you guys to do one thing. And the one thing I want you guys to do is leave, I know some of you already have done this, leave the name that you want us to go after in the summer the most. Now, there's a few options. Now, we weren't going to get into this, but I want to show this anyway, because I think hold on, let me do something here. Oh, we back. You guys just saw a bit of my PhD course. So anyway, there you go. But here we go. Just we're troubleshooting on the fly here. It's not always going to work. This energy's high. This is a list of the RFAs coming up this summer. Now, myself and Jesse, we discussed, we weren't going to talk about this, but right now, as we're having some technical difficulties, I'm deciding that we're going to pull an audible and we're going to talk about this. Is Jesse all right? Right? He's more than fine. He's great. So right now, offer sheets, I think, are not very likely. And I think Kent Hughes, what I'm going to talk about in a minute, kind of alludes to that a lot more, how offer sheets are really not that likely. But looking at the list of RFAs, there are some interesting names. Now, there's some good UFAs as well. I mean, we have guys like Brock Nelson, and look, Mitch Marner. Some people like him, some people don't. But we also have guys we could trade for. That's more the Bo Horvat route, a guy who still has, I believe, 6 years left after this year at $8 million per for a guy who's already 29 years old. Maybe not the best idea, but there's younger RFAs here that you could offer sheet. Again, I don't think the Habs are in a prime position to offer sheet. It doesn't look good on you if you do it to other teams. Other teams get upset at you. Just look at the St. Louis Edmonton thing. But it can pay dividends if you offer these guys contracts that the team won't want to match. And there's a few names here. I want to hear some names. You guys are already sending them. It's really, really great. Appreciate that. A guy like Oettinger, I'm not necessarily interested in. I don't think getting a good goalie like that, offering him probably what's going to take over $10 million to pry him from the Dallas Stars, not worth it. Dobson's an interesting one, but I think trying to do a sign and trade or trade for his rights would make more sense. Something Montreal's done before. That actually could be something very interesting. Maybe not an offer sheet, trading for his rights. There's some other names here like Byram we've heard floated around the Montreal Canadiens. But another big one here that I really do like is Mason McTavish, because you look out in Anaheim, and it's a name that actually Jesse pointed out as maybe his preferred guy here. You know, if there really even was one. A guy like Mason McTavish, I mean, again, you do have to kind of pick and choose in Anaheim. You have your guys that you see as part of your future, the guy that you don't see as part of your future. And right now, Mason McTavish, I don't know where he kind of lands on that front, right? Like, I assume he's part of their big future, but you have guys like Zegras, you have other young guys coming up the middle, Leo Carlson, and it's like, do they want to keep him around? Even a name like Marco Rossi, even though I'm a Wild fan as well as a Habs fan, his name has been circulating for over a year now, really, on trade reports. And I don't get why, because the dude is the #1 center on the Minnesota Wild, and he's producing like one. So there's a bunch of names here, and I'm going to read some in the chat here right now as we're going through. We got Nick Ehlers is another UFA. Again, he's a winger, but I think that could make a lot of sense. Again, though, the thing is Kent Hughes is probably not going to want to go land someone absolutely maybe huge like that, but that's debatable. We'll have to wait and see. But that's a very interesting one. Jesse, new thumbnail for Lane trade. Oh my god, that'd be pretty good. Hey, I'm actually going to check to see if Theobald is going well or see if he messaged me. And no, he just straight up hasn't messaged me. So maybe the internet went out or something. But look, he's here in spirit. Like you guys, yeah, Jesse liked that one. I love this. This is so awesome. I see Gabe Velarde is a RFA Habs fan. Great username, Habs fan. Very simple, to the point, clear cut. I like it. Gabe Velarde is an interesting one. I think it'd take a lot of money to pry him from Winnipeg. Again, probably more than his performance would indicate, because you'd have to pay based on the future. But again, when we're talking about these RFAs, that's kind of what you're going to have to do, right? They're the right age for you to get and have them their full 8 years with the Montreal Canadiens. Kent Hughes even said, like, you know, we're not going to go, we don't want to sign an 8-year guy just because they're good, right? Like, you have to consider that a lot of times when teams sign 8-year deals, they know the last 3-4 years are not going to be good contracts. That's just how it works. But that's what you have to pay to get elite talent up front. But Kent Hughes kind of said, you look 4 years down the road, the last 4 years of these 8-year contracts are still going to be within the Habs window. So it's not something you want to take lightly. So it's a very good point as well. And we got Mike King saying Jordan Kyrou. That's a very interesting name that Jesse's floated as well. Kyrou, I wish he actually was a center like Hockey Reference has him listed as. I think he's kind of listed as a center everywhere, but the dude just doesn't take faceoffs. Extremely talented winger. But another guy that I'm seeing here in chat is Robert Thomas from the St. Louis Blues. And Robert Thomas, again, is point per game player, same age as Nick Suzuki, defensively responsible center. He's basically as close to Nick Suzuki as you can get while not quite being Nick Suzuki. And that's what I love about Robert Thomas. But again, if you're St. Louis, you have a young team, you would be nuts to trade away Robert Thomas under any circumstances. And I know, Kent Hughes, we have the assets to trade for a guy like that, but I'm just not sold on it. I'm just not sold that a team like that would accept it. And the joke is saying Robert Thomas is often injured. Scary. He is often injured, whereas Nick Suzuki's an Iron Man. So unless St. Louis really doesn't like the fact he's injured a lot, maybe they can move on from him there. But to me, he's a key part of their future. They have some great young talent over there right now. Zachary Bolduc. Of course, they picked up Broberg and Holloway from the offer sheets from the Edmonton Oilers. Their goalie situation is meh. I mean, look, Binnington's still fine. Like, he's fine. Like, I think it's what Hofer is the other guy there, I think. So, I mean, look, I don't know a ton about the St. Louis Blues. Some of their guys are aging, but a lot of them are still young. So I think there's a lot of potential there for them. But there's so many big names here. Recycle Romanov from Canadian Dude and Oz, formerly known as Super Goujon. I don't know. Are you just saying bring him back in, as in like recycle? I'm not sold. I don't see why. Look, I don't see why right now when you have a team like this, when you have guys like Matheson and Struble and Xhekaj, not to mention Cayden, Guhle and Lane Hutson, all on the left side. I just don't get it. Not to mention Adam Engstrom coming up. Like, I think Romanov can bring a lot, and I just don't see him necessarily being that much better than a guy like Xhekaj. Like, especially for how much you'd have to pay relative to Xhekaj. And we still got another year of Xhekaj before we even have to talk about restricted free agency and his upcoming contract, right? So it's a bit iffy, right? So we got a lot of people talking. You know what? At this point, I think we're just going to have to stick with Static Jesse for now. But you know what? Leave some love for Static Jesse down below, because honestly, it's a nice companion to have on the stream. Also, I don't have a solo setup right here. Maybe I should. So he's sticking with us for the rest of the stream. Whether you guys like it or not, I actually probably could change it. Actually, you know what? Do I just try and do that, or will the whole stream crash? You know what? Okay, let me put this to a vote right now. Let me put this to a vote. Static Jesse or solo Josh? All right, let's see what you guys have to say here. Because I think, like, if it's not distracting, then you know what, we'll, if it's not distracting, I'd like to keep it. That's my vote. My vote's for Static Jesse. Just, I don't mean to sway you guys, but I think it's great, because I think it's nice having Jesse here, right? And already the votes are flowing in for Static Jesse. I think that's what we're going to end up doing. We'll see what it ends up being, but yeah. Ethan Mod saying Byfield. Byfield's an interesting one, too, because he's a very similar player to Slav. He's a big body, and he had a very slow start this year, but he's been on a tear recently. In the last like month-ish, he's been really, really, really good, and I really like the idea of adding a Quinton Byfield. But again, the consistency is, he's still young. The consistency's maybe not quite there. Again, we're at the point where we can afford to be picky. I'm not even letting this poll go for any longer. We got a ton of people voting. It's staying with Static Jesse. There is no question. Overwhelming majority in 48 votes. That's what I figured. You know, you don't want to see just me. That's not what this is. That's not what this is. So, Lafreniere is very interesting. Solo Static Jesse? Hold on. No, I mean, okay. All right, we're going to rock solo Static Jesse for just a moment here. So, right now, we can afford to overpay for players, right? So, what I mean is, like, we're looking forward to the future. We don't want to take gambles anymore. We're in the zone to, I can't take myself seriously. Look, we're keeping this for now, okay? It's better now. It's absolutely, this is peak viewership. I guarantee we're losing viewers, but I hope not. I want to keep you guys around. This is just radio. You know what? It kind of is, but you know what? It's fun radio. So I'll take the face back in a second. Hold on. One second. Oh, no, that doesn't work. No, hold on. This is, oh no, because I have it cropped. Hold on. Well, this, oh yeah, there, there I am. All right, so, we're pulling an audible here today. Look, I'm here. Hello. When we go back to the main thing, I'm not going to be here. Let me sit down. Hi. So, right now, we're at a point where, no, this is, okay, one last fix. How are we gaining viewers? How are people coming in to watch this? This is absolutely unhinged. That's what this is. This is unhinged. Okay, hold on. Just bear with me. We're gonna. Sorry, it's like it's like a trippy experience to be doing this, because I usually look in one place and it's so nuts. Anyways, keep Static Jesse forever. No, we need moving Jesse. So let's just get into what Kent Hughes had to say, because when we're looking towards the future, we no joke, we gained 25 viewers during that insano segment right there. Is that really what you guys want? You want I mean, look, Steve Dangle has a lot of subscribers for a reason. Sometimes I just lose my mind on these streams, and you know what? I think that's okay. Let's get right at, no, not even this, the wrong thing. Noah is becoming a channel member during this fiasco. Noah, thank you. Welcome to the Snipe Selly tier. This is my favorite stream for you guys this season. Josh, call Jesse, put him on speakerphone. Hold on. Is that even going to work? Is that even going to work? Hold on. Well, no, I don't think so. Because I think if his internet's gone, I mean, I could put him on speaker on my phone. It's an international call, so I don't think I can do that. But I think we're okay. Well, look, if he comes back, we'll get him in as soon as we can. Gonna try about this. Thank you so much, Noah. Thank you so much. This is not the quote I even want to bring up. I want to bring up this. So in an article, Eric Engels down below. First of all, go check out Eric Engels' article because it is absolutely worth it. The insanity has sort of stopped for now. I'm sure it'll get crazy in a second. But Kent Hughes had a lot to say, and he revealed a lot about something huge coming for the Montreal Canadiens. And this is just the first of a few quotes I'm going to show you. He talked a bit about the deadline. He said if there had been somebody for us to get that could play up the lineup and help, somebody who could have played with Newhook and Patrick Laine, that's what we were testing the waters for. And look, even a guy like on Ottawa, like Dylan Cousins, we heard that Kent Hughes went out and put out feelers on a guy like Cousins. And I think he fits the bill as much as, excuse me, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily want him there. Again, I think that contract is extremely risky in year 2 of 7 for his level of production. It's the kind of guy that, like, you regret not checking the price on. And look, Montreal just didn't have the assets to get it done when a more established guy on a similar contract than Josh Norris was available, right? Like, that's just what it is. By the way, hello, Mark, one of our Rocket Richard team members. Great to see you. Hello, all you awesome Habs fans. Hope you're enjoying the excitement of being in the mix. Hope you're enjoying Static Jesse, Mark, or you probably came in here and you're wondering why the heck is Jesse frozen? I'm going to have to keep talking about this right now. Josh, can you FaceTime Zoom call Static Jesse? Tell him how he is now. I would. We're still in the Zoom call, so as soon as he's back, he'll be joining and he'll be back on screen. It's just I don't think he has internet. We'll have to see. Hey, Josh and Jesse, Habs Digest from Saigon, Vietnam. Hello, Colin McDonald from Saigon, Vietnam. Pretty far away. I forget how to say hello in Vietnamese, but you know it is what it is. Or FaceTime again. I don't have an iPhone. Look, I don't. My normal method of communication with him is not working at the moment, and it says he's offline. So there might be something going on there. Look, again, I'll keep you guys updated on that. Gonna try my best. But looking at this, we're so off topic. But you know what? That's what's making this fun. Ricky says, Jesse, stop smiling. Oh, man, if I could rotate that upside down, that'd be funny. But no, I'm not going to do that. I can't do that. I thought he was in a really good mood. I mean, look, he's happy. We had a vote and everything to see whether to keep Static Jesse after some technical difficulties. And the vote is to keep him. And that's what he's doing. I mean, I could put myself down there, but I'm not doing that. That's not what this is about. So, Jesse's been abducted by Leafs fan. That's right. Leafs Digest has come in and they have kidnapped Jesse Poirier from this stream. And if you want to save him, subscribe to our channel and support us over Leafs Digest. Don't go crap on Leafs Digest. They do great stuff. Look, my brother hosts over there. We all know they're good dudes, but just, you know, you're gonna stick watching our videos. Unbelievable. When he comes back, you should be Static Jesse. We'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see. This is getting absurd, but you know what? I love it. By the way, thank you for helping us hit 100 likes, guys. Like this is approaching like an out of body experience for me right now. This is why we do this stuff. I'm like bouncing off the walls. I haven't had a cup of coffee since like 11 a.m. and it's 7 p.m. right now. You can't say no to a static smile. No, that's absolutely very true. Maybe Jesse's an AI that froze. Maybe I've been tricking you guys and it's actually just been me and an AI this whole time. You know, you can't fake that smile. You can't fake the analysis Jesse brings. There is no replacement for Jesse. There is no AI replacement. Let's get back on topic. I'm not even the one going off topic. This is you guys. I'm not saying it's your fault. I'm just saying we're all playing a part in this. If there had been somebody Kent Hughes would have got him. But this isn't even the biggest thing. It's 6 a.m. in Nam. 6 a.m. You're starting your day with this insanity? Cannot be good for your health. Let's move on. No, this one. This is one of the biggest quotes from Kent Hughes, I think. He said, we're not going to go into free agency like a bunch of drunken sailors, like all of the newfies, just like me, and get stuck with 8-year deals that we wish we could get out of the minute we get into them. But I think we're probably closer to overpaying in terms of what we give up in assets to acquire a player. And this is the thing. This is where I read what Kent Hughes was putting down in this Eric Engels article. Link down below. Please go read it. It's so good. This is where I felt he is speaking to me right now. Because is this or is this not what myself, what Jesse, what most of you have been parroting all season long? This is exactly what we've been saying. With the plethora of draft picks that we have, with the amount of prospects that we have in our pool, not only prospects, but guys who almost certainly project as solid NHL level talent, we have so many guys that we could dangle in trade talks, whether it's a guy like a Joshua Roy, a Jared Davidson. I don't think it's going to be Owen Beck, but you never know. these are the guys that we're talking about. Adam Engstrom, Logan Mailloux, probably not a Reinbacher, but that plus the unbelievable amount of draft picks we have in this draft and next year's draft can absolutely land us a player on a team that's finally willing to sell, which is why a lot of the Bo Horvat names come across, because the New York Islanders can't seem to decide if they want to compete or not. Lou Lamoriello seems to think they are, but they sold off Brock Nelson and extended Kyle Palmieri the same day, and I don't know what the heck's going on there. But if Bo Horvat is maybe not going to be there long term, that's one of those great options for a team that seems to be on the verge of blowing it up. Never know with Lou. He probably doesn't have his landline plugged in right now. Unreal stuff. Doug Saylor coming in with the super chat. Darn Leafs Digest. Hey, Habs Digest. Let's just say yay Habs Digest. We're not putting them down, but hey, we leave it there. And we got Habs fans saying I'm from Newfoundland. Henry Wong. Oh, I've seen you out here all the time, Henry. YYT. Can everyone from Newfoundland just leave a comment right now? I want to know how many of you are here. Even if you've never chatted before, you don't even need to be subscribed. If you're watching the stream from a YouTube account, just leave a comment saying I'm from Newfoundland, because I'm curious, because I am. A lot of you guys know that. Maybe some of you guys don't know that. I got the let me get that down. Oh, it's jammed into the wall. Got it right here. It's always right above me. It's part of the streaming setup, right? This is my family, my heritage here. Oh, here we go. We got a Staynax, me, Travis Beaton, yes, bye, Derek, Nova Scotia here. We got a lot of Nova Scotians, you know. Even going through Cape Breton, that accent's some similar, isn't it? Yo, Newfoundland, says Nathan Hill. Your favorite stream, says Ethan Mods. We're losing people. We're losing. This is supposed to be the part where people stay. We're losing people, but it doesn't matter. Doug Sailor, 279, really fun stream. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Doug, for the support. Joseph saying, Glace Bay, shout out New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, families from the Crossing, Canada. So many people from so many places. Love to see that. But let's get Halifax going to New Brunswick as well. Oh my gosh, so many people from so many places. We got Vietnam, we got Australia, we got so many great things. I want to get back to this though. I want to hear your guys' opinion, right? Like, if we're signing an 8-year contract, would you guys really be comfortable with signing, say, like a 28, 29-year-old free agent to an 8-year contract? Yes or no? Simple Y or N, type in the chat, because to me, that is so risky. And I know Kent, he's willing to do that, but I think there's a reason he's preparing us for a kind of trade, because those contracts, like he said in his interview with Gino Reda that you can find on the TSN YouTube channel, he said, like, you got to think that the last 4 years of those 8-year deals, those are often going to be bad years of the contract. That's just what it is. It's how it works in the NHL. And when you have a team that's so young that you're planning to be in competition for the playoffs for at least the next 8 years, you can't just discount those 4 years at the end and say, look, we'll be out of our window by then. Like some teams, like, look, if you're in the middle of your window, your core is 28, 29 years old, you can afford to sign an 8-year contract with 4 bad years at the end, right? You can do it because you know your window's going to end by the time those first few good years of that contract are ended. Then at the end, you dump it off, you let them rock with your rebuilding team, you trade it somewhere, something like that. And so many of you are saying no, and I think that's exactly right. But though some of you are saying it depends who. Alex is very adamant that he would not do that. Derek saying no 8-year deals for Hutson, Demidov, Hage, perhaps. Yes, exactly. Alex saying 5 years max. Right, and I don't think 5 years is going to get you one of those guys, which is why Kent is saying this, right? Look at how much the fans are saying, look, Hutson, yeah, our own guys, absolutely, right? But at 8 years, I would go to 25 or 26-year-old tops. This is what I'm saying, right? And that kind of brings us back to this RFA conversation where these guys are up for big contract extensions, and if you can trade for the rights or offer sheet, which I think is really unlikely, you can absolutely do something with that. But like an 8-year deal is a long time, and for the guys, the UFAs right now that we're seeing, there is absolutely no rush. There is no rush at all for Montreal to go in there and do something like that. So I think a trade is by far the most likely. But there's also some other stuff that he said, and I want to bring this one in too. He said, we'd be remiss if we missed the window while we still have an elite two-way centerman like Nick Suzuki driving our team, and there's no debating it. Straight up, no debating it. If we're successful this summer, the player or players, multiple, which I'd love to hear as well, the player or players that come here for now to help open our window, are here for now to help open our window and extend it well into the future. And I guess there's other scenarios where there's certain players that could come now while we're waiting for other players to develop. And that, to me, I love this. I love this a lot. And what he is saying here is not only like, are we trying to land one or multiple impact players this offseason, which in and of itself is really, really good. It's exactly what all of us have been clamoring for literally all season long. But he's also saying that he's not afraid to get shorter term deals to bridge that gap between these other guys coming as well. Because, I mean, when you look at this forward core, there's going to have to be, like, look, as much as we would love to say that someone like an Owen Beck is absolutely ready to take over this role right now. Kapanen might be, but he's still young. Hage, no. Guys are usually not really ready to shoulder a heavy workload in the NHL until we're talking like 22, 23 years old. A lot of guys play before that, but on a team that's ready to compete, I don't know, not always, right? And it's sometimes more beneficial to keep some guys in development for longer. So what Kent Hughes is saying is like, look, we're going to have draft picks this year, first of all. We still have Ivan Demidov, who is going to take a little while to develop, though he's going to be in the lineup from day one. Don't know how long Reinbacher is going to take. Don't know what Engstrom or Mayu's timeline looks like, nor Michael Hage, nor even a guy like Jacob Fowler. We want to assume it's going to be as soon as possible, but you can't assume that because you don't know how long it's going to take. And the last thing you want to do, as we're quite familiar with, is rush a prospect, force them into a position that they're not comfortable with, and stunt their development. Now, the Habs do actually have a development team now as compared to those Jesperi Kotkaniemi years or whoever else you want to talk about on the Habs or, you know, around the rest of the NHL. But you can't just assume that these guys are going to be ready to go at the age of 20 and take over this 2C role. It's not how it works. So the fact that Kent is like, look, we may come in and we may have replacements on defense or forward or wherever it may be to let these guys develop. That's one of the biggest things here. He's open to everything. He wants to make this team better, not just for the now, but for the development of the young players to let them stay down where they need to be, to get probably veterans on shorter term deals to also help mentor your guys and develop your guys, but also bring in one or multiple established players in this league that you can go trade for, you can overpay for in a trade that will help your team immediately and immensely. And look, I know we only got 1 year left on Laine. There's question marks about that as well. There's so many interesting names out there. I even see Frankie saying Granlund. That's an interesting one as well, right? It's like, there's so many possible things. Like, I'm okay. I just went on a big monologue. Oh my gosh, Joseph Donovan, I'm starting a GoFundMe to save Jesse. Look, Jesse is gonna love to hear that. Thank you so much, Joseph, for the $5. Really, really appreciate that. But I just went on my big monologue. I don't know how many of you listened. I don't know how many of you were just staring down here. That looks weird when I do that in person. No, but down here at Jesse. But what do you think of what I just said? Like, I think that this just makes a ton of sense for Kent Hughes. He's teased something absolutely massive right now. Like, there's something really genuinely big coming for the Montreal Canadiens. We knew he said this summer was going to be big, but he's legit saying here, like, we're not wasting his prime. We're getting a player or players that are helping our team for the long-term future. We are going to get guys who can help bridge that gap to help our young guys develop. We have Ivan Demidov, who's coming over next year, who's the best prospect literally in the world. We have the best goalie prospect in the world in Jacob Fowler coming up. We have Michael Hage, who was over a point per game in his freshman college season as a late first-round pick that we traded up to get. We have Adam Engstrom, Logan Mailloux, and David Reinbacher, who all look like they can have NHL upside in the AHL. We have Joshua Wan, Owen Beck, and Sean Farrell, who have all played NHL games at one point or the other. Even a guy like Oliver Kapanen, who is near a point per game in the SHL. The list doesn't end. And we have a ton of draft picks this year. We have a generational style, maybe not generational, maybe that's a bit much, a superstar style defenseman in Lane Hutson. We have a top 15 center in the world in Nick Suzuki. We have a 40 goal scorer this season in Cole Caufield. I'm sure he's going to get there. Hopefully he does. We have the top two scorers from the 2022 draft class, at least since I think December or something, Juraj Slafkovsky and Lane Hutson. Second half Slav is real. I don't know. The passion for me, as you can see, is flowing out, and I think you guys are feeling it too. There is nothing not to like about where Montreal is headed right now. There's nothing not to like about what Kent Hughes has said. Because honestly, and let me know if you guys agree with this or not, but everything Kent Hughes is saying, he agrees. Everything Kent Hughes is saying, this is what you'd want your GM to say if you were a fan of another team, right? Like if you're a fan of another team, if you're a fan of the Leafs, you're a fan of the Senators, you're a fan of the Jets, or you're a fan of the Sharks, go check out Sharks Digest. I'm on that channel as well if you like the San Jose Sharks. You look at the Montreal Canadiens, you look at what Kent Hughes is doing right now, and you hear the answers he's giving to this question. You see how he tore this team down, the assets he kept, the assets he moved, with some criticism, some praise, left and right here and there. The Kirby Dach move, the new hook move, some criticism, some praise, all this stuff. And you look at how he has formed this team. You look at this roster, and you know the prospects that we have coming up through the system, the best prospect in the world, and in my opinion, the best goalie prospect in the world, not to mention a few other guys with higher NHL upside. And you hear what he's talking about in terms of going to get free agents. How many GMs would go out and try to make a big splash? This team's on the verge of the playoffs. Let's go make a big splash in free agency to turn us into a playoff team, right? Like, how many GMs would go out and just do that because they feel like their job might not be safe? There's ownership groups that wouldn't put up with what Montreal has put up with. And I got to credit the Molsons for buying into Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton's vision right now and allowing them to do this. Like, with seemingly no pressure. How many teams who have gone through what Montreal's gone through in the last few years would have their GM maybe on the hot seat? There has been no such indication for Kent Hughes since day one that he was hired, because the vision was there and it's coming to fruition right now. This offseason is the big step towards something massive for the future, as we get another donation from Ethan Mods saying this team has a bright future ahead. In my opinion, this summer is the biggest offseason we've had in years. Took the words right out of my mouth, I think quite literally based on what I just said. There is so much unbelievable stuff. And right there is where I need to take a sip of water. Hope you don't leave during the sip of water. Let me take a look at chat. I haven't even looked. I've been trying not to look at Jesse. I'm trying not to break down in this stream right now. I think we got this. I think we got this right now. I still haven't heard from Jesse. Let me just double check that again. Nope, he's still offline. So we'll see. All right, let's take a look here. So I'm a licensed private investigator. Jesse needs to be found. If he's missing for more than 24 hours, I might have to hire you, Derek. So I'm going to go through, again, members first do get priority in donations. I'm sorry to all of you who are not members of donations. There's so much here. I'm going to try, though. I'm going to try to read some of this stuff. LMAO, Josh says something convincing. Jesse, smile. Hey, look, it's he's a great, look, we often agree with each other. Not always, but, Jesse is a fantastic co-host to do this with. I got to tell you, it's like, it doesn't get better than what we have going here. Joseph saying he's close to getting the team he wants, short and long term. Absolutely. The fact we're in the mix is just proof of that. The fact we're in the mix right now with this roster is just absolute proof of that. And this game against Ottawa is going to be absolutely massive. Going to go down here. Josh asked Jesse's opinion. Jesse, are you happy with the state of the team? He's happy, reasonably. Putin took Jesse. I don't think so. I think he's going after Demidov first there. The Joke is saying, can you imagine the atmosphere in the Centre Bell tomorrow night? I cannot wait to... Are you going to Joka? That's going to be unbelievable. Hey, send some emojis. You're a channel member now if you missed the gifted sub. So that was credit to Joseph for sending you that. That was unbelievable. Image One Nation saying that rebuild slaps. Absolutely. Damn you, Vlad, Jesse Kidnapper. I think Struble is getting great exposure also for a trade this summer to make room for righties. Maybe, but I also think Jayden Struble has shown incredible chemistry with Lane Hutson. So it's really hard for me to say whether one or the other is better, right? Like it's just kind of like, I get it. There's other players that are probably better than Jayden Struble, and if it comes down to it, you're going to have to make some cutthroat decisions. But right now, like, he's making a case to stay on this team, and that's what I love about it. And yeah, anyway, there's a bit of fire with this team right now. We actually saw it in practice today. I'm not going to show. It's going to put a damper on the positive mood. We got Xhekaj and Pizzette. I got into a little scuffle, but we're not going to talk about that. Let's see. What else we got? Oh my goodness, so many chats. Who can we offer? She says third eye clear. I'll toss it back up on the screen if you want to take a look at some of the top offer sheet candidates. I'm actually going to make it bigger for you. Josh, just nod if you can hear us. Just nod if you can hear us, Jesse. I don't think he can hear you. W. Josh. Oh, thank you, Zen. Appreciate that. Always believe. Absolutely. Did Jesse blink? No. Jesse hasn't blinked in a while. It's fine. I think he's fine. He looks, he's just happy. Jesse happy? He's happy. See? The jokey. Oh, there's the emojis. Yes, sir. Jesse left to go get Demidov and bring him to Montreal. What is the reason that Jesse is gone? What happened to Jesse? I think that's my favorite one. He's gone to Russia to bring Demidov back to Montreal. I like that. Can't wait for terms. This seems going to be a playoff style type of game. Absolutely. I see Lafreniere's name coming up. Didn't he sign an extension? Or am I gone crazy? Let me just look this up right now. Okay, this is probably going to lag the stream. Alexis Lafreniere. Let's look at his contract. Puckpedia here. He did sign an extension, right? Yeah, he signed a contract back in, he's on a 7-year, $7.45 million contract. So is he here? Is he on this list? He's not there. So like, I mean, you could trade for Lafreniere if the Rangers decide to blow it up and miss the playoffs. But again, it's a 7-year, $7.5 million deal. Is that the kind of guy you want? Maybe. I don't know. And I just, I don't know. I'm not sold on Lafreniere. I'm not totally sold on that. Yeah, you know. The joke is saying Struble and Xhekaj made up though. It's all good. Intensity. Well, Pizzetta and you know what? I'm just going to flash it just real quick. You can see Pizzetta with a little slash there because Xhekaj slashed him on the hands. They got into a scuffle. But you know what this tells me? You know what this tells me more than literally anything? Yes, they made up after. It seems fine. This tells me there's intensity in practice. How important is to have it? You know what I would rather see? I'd rather see two teammates have an incredibly intense practice where they're very competitive. If any of you have ever played any kind of competitive sport, this is common. I mean, it's not going to happen every practice, but every now and then, like, we never hear about scuffles in Habs practices, like basically never. Every now and then, you're going to have two guys go at each other because one guy didn't like what another guy did. It's just what happens in sports. And to see that the players care enough for this is more than a lot of other teams can say. How many locker rooms seems dead? Coach lost the locker room. Oh, this and that. Habs didn't lose the locker room. Assistant coach was over there right away. They're intense. They made up. It's great. The intensity in practice is absolutely unbelievable to see. If your practices are tougher than your games, games will be easy. I love that quote from Nathan C here in the chat. That is absolutely right. Like, having that kind of intensity is so great. There's so much great stuff happening with Montreal. You know what? I think we might just call it there. The joke is I agree, Josh, better to have intensity than lethargic teammates. Galley and Subban, exactly. It leads to wins. But I just want to ask you guys one thing before we go. Because there's we're gonna go in a few minutes. I just want to ask you guys one thing here. Can we get 8 more likes? Look, I know it sounds like I'm begging, but like we're 8 away from 150. You can't say that you don't also want to see that number hit 150. Maybe you don't. Maybe you genuinely just don't care, and that's fine. But I think a few of you maybe want to help us hit that 150. I think it'd be nice. Also, this is the end of the stream right now. But again, I just want to genuinely say. Oh my gosh, Image One Nation with 270. Oh, you're doing this to me again. Are you hitting me with the donation wall before we go at the end of these streams? Hit me with the donation wall so I can't actually end it. You should give Jesse a call to make sure everything's okay. You know what? I'm gonna give it a shot. I don't think that's still his number. The thing is, I can only really call him on internet-based apps. So let me see. Let's see if I can actually do this. I'm just gonna give it a shot here. Can I do this? Let's try. Alright, we'll see what happens here. Oh my gosh, no, it's happening again. Ethan with the $2. Ethan, thank you so much. Unbelievable stuff. I'm giving Jesse a call right now. Josh, why does your brother run the Leafs channel? I'm actually gonna turn that off speaker. Because Nick's a Leafs fan. He's a Leafs fan, so that's why he runs it. I'm a Habs fan. I run this. We're 4 years apart, so I became a Habs fan first. Rich people giving money. Yeah, seriously, you don't need to donate to me like that. You don't need to. I mean, like, obviously, like it. Okay, no, he's unavailable on the phone. So I'm assuming something went on. He had to dip, and that's fine too. He is fine, so we'll be okay. Habs Jesse Telethon. Yeah, it is what it is. But thank you so much for all the support. But again, I wanted to ask something here. Can't click like more than once. We hit 160, so thank you guys so much for that. One last thing I wanted to do here. If you guys like sports, I know this sounds like just a promotional ad thing, but like genuinely, this Hot Takes March Madness thing is super fun. Like, we have, again, over 250 people in there, and again, when I tell you it's completely free, I'm genuinely not joking. Like, you download the app using the QR code in the video. I'll run it again in a minute, and you just email password, you click the banner at the top, join groups, Digest Media Pool, and you put in code Digest when you get in there. I filled out my bracket this morning. The main event round is on right now. There's multiple rounds. There's rounds after every round of the March Madness tournament, but you literally just guess the winner of every single game, and then you have a chance at winning. I think it's $3,000 USD if you have the top bracket, if you have a perfect bracket. So it's a small pool of players, right? We're only got a few hundred in there now. So again, you don't have to do it. It's just something like we genuinely love. And when we were approached for this partnership, it was like an absolute like no-brainer, and I would just absolutely love if you guys could join it as well. And the instructions are in the description, but you don't have to worry about that if you really don't want to, seriously. So thank you all for watching. That'll do it for this live episode of Habs Digest. Cannot thank you guys enough for the support you've shown, and Static Jesse, and we'll be I'll be in touch with him, I'm sure. And you know what, let me try one more time. Let me see if I have a phone number that I can call him at, because I know you guys right now. But because I don't know if his power went out or whatever. Is this I got 2 numbers here. I don't actually know which one is which. Connected apps. WhatsApp. See if I can call him on WhatsApp. See if this works. I don't know. We'll see if this works. But yeah, save that pic of Jesse. It is saved. It's here. It's not going to be going away anytime soon. Let's see. I don't have any music to play in the background either. Do I? No, I don't think I actually have any music. Oh, do I? Have some lo-fi. There you go. Or wait, maybe here. Let's see. There you go. Some little lo-fi to get by. Newfoundland. Next video should be Josh, Jesse instead. Jesse. This has become a meme. You guys are gonna end up leaving comments or something on like the videos, and no one's gonna have any idea what you're talking about. No, he's not answering. So I think his internet's gone down. That happens occasionally where he is. So again, we'll give an update in our next video. You'll see Jesse in the next video. So don't worry about it. But thank you all so much. I'm not giving you a number. I'm not giving you Jesse's phone number. I thank you guys. I appreciate that. But yeah, that'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. That's all we can ask. Guys, Burrows are so close to 20K. Isn't that nuts? For all of you that have been around here since the start, cannot thank you guys enough for everything you've given to us, for everything we've done here on the channel. It's crazy to think how far we've come in such a short period of time. And to think that we're at almost 20,000 subscribers after like just over 2 years of doing this. Just the Habs channel. Like, we get legit similar viewership, like not in terms of actually when we're live, but like our lives as videos end up getting more views than Tony Marinaro sometimes. And he does amazing stuff. You guys all know Tony. He's been around for so long. He's such a fantastic creator, not just in the YouTube space, but across all of sports media. Like, it's insane when we compare ourselves to them. So anyway, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Josh, you have a great dynamic and you will rock the channel for a long time. Continue the great work. Keep the passion. Mais merci beaucoup à tout le monde. Marc Levesque. It was unbelievable. I'm your host, Josh Goss. For my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch y'all in the next one. Like and subscribe.